Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
a General Hospital fan podcast.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the General Hospital recap for January 26th through 30th, 2026. This was a heavy week.
I was annoyed a lot this week.
I have a lot of feelings.
All right.
We'll get into, and who knows how long. Just going to get started with Port Charles pipelines. Great minds think alike. Hello, ladies. I'll get right to it. During last week's episode, I rejoiced that someone like me was thinking about Willow injecting Drew. As a person who injects herself once monthly for Crohn's disease, it's typical to have some type of reaction that lasts for an hour or so, and the injection site is usually visible. Although small, you'd think a thorough exam would reveal it. Having said that, in the frantic off-screen activity to stabilize Drew, and given that some time must have lapsed between the injection and the examination, any mark could have been overlooked as it would have dissipated. Oh, you know what? Willow would probably know how long it would take for that to go down, and then that's when she called.
And they probably weren't at all looking for it because no one was suspecting foul play.
Right, being on his neck, though, like that's
I know
visible. Like if she had done it anywhere else, if she had done it, like in his thigh or like his butt, no one's probably going to see it as easily as his neck. Oh my gosh, that would have been awesome. Remember how we were talking about she should have used something to like get his heart? What if like also during it she also stabbed him in the butt? Anyway, on a completely unrelated note, I love Switched at Birth. That was one of my pandemic binge shows. Oh, and we've both watched this show. The Bold Type is another good show. Although check the content to ensure it's age appropriate for your daughters. I describe it as an updated Sex in the City that focuses on the female friendship. Love the podcast, Piper.
Aw, thanks, Piper. I watched that show also. Loved it. Don't think Madeline's ready for it just yet, but it'll definitely be waiting for when she gets a little older.
Yeah. And then tribute to Tony Geary. Okay, so I wanted to be sure you saw this. There's a full tribute planned on February 20th. I think the clips we've seen were just the preview promo. Here's the link. Love your podcast, Reese.
Thanks, Reese.
And then just a few minutes later, and like you, I Googled in the middle of your podcast. Glad that we all worked it out together. So we did have several like comments and stuff of that, but it's so funny because I'm so guilty of it too. Read the whole email before you respond. I am so guilty of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was actually kind of comforting though, to get an email saying that, and then
right, because that's exactly what we did. We complained and then Googled. Oops.
Yeah. But then there was a reason. That's exactly why we left it in there, though, because we even went to Instagram, and I even checked since. I did not check today. It's Friday night, the 30th. I might have checked on Wednesday or something. They had not shared that they were doing an episode. TV Insider shared and tagged General Hospital ABC. That's the whole reason why it's even showing up in their grid. It was not. So they still haven't announced it on their social.
But I'm glad we all got there.
Yes. But we were also not alone.
Yes.
Then Sherry, I believe the writing team could benefit from a refresher on Port Charles history and family trees. It appears to have been overlooked that Charlotte and Danny are second cousins once removed. While I agree with that, of all the combos they have done, that one is not too bad. Because it could also have been said for Franco and Liz. They were somewhere, but Heather was through marriage, Weber.
Right.
But still, yes, I feel like, I don't know, we want to have a wall that shows the family tree. Why don't they?
Right.
And then from Holly, hi, ladies. Can't wait to hear your recap of a bizarre week. I've been battling it out on social media regarding a rumor that has swirled around Steve Burton since the early 2000s. The rumor was that due to his Christian beliefs, he refused to do love scenes. He debunked this in 2017 or 18 on his podcast with Bradford. Nancy Lee Grahn was a guest, and she said something about it to Steve. He denied it, and he had no idea where it came from. He said there were times, specifically during football season, where he wasn't as strict with his diet, making him reluctant to take off his shirt, but he never declined a love scene and has done many since that rumor started. He also pointed out how ridiculous it was to tie his religion because his character is a killer. The rumor popped up again this week because of that bizarre Thursday episode where it was unclear if they hooked up and we never saw Jason's shirt off. I tried to find that specific episode of the podcast, but their archive only goes back about 5 years. Yeah, I think that they got stuck behind the paywall when they moved to one of their newer platforms or networks that they're with. But there are actors, though, that do that. Like the guy that played Dave Williams on Desperate Housewives. When he got married, he refused to kiss anyone else. And I feel like that's a conviction thing too. You know, he
Right.
felt convicted that he didn't want to do it. And there were a lot of times he wasn't cast in anything because of it. But then he also winds up playing villains. Okay, to be fair to the point of Steve, he said that he typically gets cast in villains because the villains don't get the love story.
Very
Neil
true.
McDonough. That's his name, Neil McDonough. So while there's definitely nothing wrong with if that is what he is convicted, the fact that, yeah, because I'm pretty sure he was on Days and had love scenes, right? I mean, I didn't watch Days, but
I thought so. And I mean, I feel like we got love scenes with him and Sam.
yeah,
Definitely.
when he came back,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, because there wasn't anyone between Sam and Britt.
Nope.
Oh, wait, yes. When he married Carly, they actually started to have one.
They started, but they didn't get into
But
it. Yeah.
still, they
Right.
started it. That's funny though, during football season, he's not strict on his diet. So that was it for the pipelines from our fans. Love it. I didn't see any news, did you?
No.
Oh, and if you want to write in a Port Charles pipeline, peer54podcast@gmail.com. And when I see a fan email come in, I automatically snooze it until Friday afternoon. That way I don't miss it for the pipeline, which sometimes still happens. And that's just a human error. But so if there's ever anything like timely, I don't know. Because I'm probably still going to snooze it. So I have no suggestion for you. Sorry. One thing we forgot to say last week, though, Danny and Rocco finally have cards.
Oh, yes.
When did they get those?
I don't know.
I swear that they only just got it.
I think it started the beginning of the month, but I'm not positive.
Possibly.
So on to Hulu headlines.
So I can't find where. I swear that they just got them, but Google is not agreeing with me right now. So,
Oh, well. Whether we've just noticed it because they've been on more consistently or they just got them, it is nice that they're on there. So,
yes. Welcome to the opening credits, kids. This upcoming 411 is part 2 of our chat with fan Kim Hudson. Definitely have to go listen to part 1. It was just, there was nothing to cut down. And we don't really cut anything down.
Right.
Actually, we talk about that on the show, on that episode. I don't know if that's part 1 or part 2. But yeah, either way. And if you would like to be a fan spotlight, go to our website, generalhospitalpodcast.com. And there is a link for becoming a fan spotlight. And I don't think we talked about this. Hold it. We have a new website.
I think we like halfway mentioned it the one day, like that we were launching it, but we never got into anything more.
Yeah. So guys, we have a brand new website. We have a lot of big goals and we actually just got some good news today, but it has not been official yet. So we are not saying anything, but yeah, we have a new website. Go check it out. We have a new, I think I said that. I think I said like we have a new logo and stuff, but yeah, no, we have a new website. So go check it out. There's a link for the fan spotlights for if you want to submit your own ideas for the 411s, all that fun stuff. Kind of boring in the opening today, but for Hulu headlines on Monday, Sonny manipulates Ava. I don't think he manipulated her as much as they had a pretty darn honest conversation about who they are. Jason voices his concern for Britt. Jordan brokers an introduction. Joss turns to an unlikely source for help. Curtis is relieved. On Tuesday, Jason is a man on a mission. Jocelyn makes a bold move. Lucas questions Britt. Carly catches up with Lulu and Charlotte. Tracy suffers a setback. On Wednesday, Tracy makes a surprising discovery. Trina voices her pain. Valentine is alarmed. Lulu turns to Nathan for help. Gio and Emma are waylaid. On Thursday, Jason plays hero. Carly gets good news. Nathan lets his guard down. Molly shares her news with Cody. And a duo shares a first kiss.
Wow, that's interesting that they didn't ruin that for us. Go ahead.
I know. And it's actually a duo of duos. So, yeah, still. Then on Friday, Carly makes an offer. Jason connects the dots. Lulu makes a confession. Rocco's feelings are hurt. Aww. And Portia is rebuffed.
Oh my God.
Where are we going? Where are we starting?
We'll start at the beginning. I can't stand Portia. So that's nothing new. We'll start at the beginning. We got to see our good friend Brick.
Yes.
That made me so happy. I know he's like just on for those little blips, but every time that I see him, I'm like, I love him. We need to talk to him just so I can say that I talked to him because I love him. But yeah, he was asking Portia or Jordan out on a date, and she was like, "Oh, sorry, here comes Curtis." Like getting your men all confused there. I liked it.
You're telling me that a former private investigator has no idea who Sonny's resources are? And also, sorry, ex-husband to former police commissioner.
Just never crossed their paths, okay?
I I could not picture a time that they had met, but I'm just like, really? Curtis and Brick don't know who each other are?
I feel like there has to have been a time, and I cannot remember exactly when, but there has to have been a time that Brick was at the Savoy. No one said, "Hey, that's the owner, Curtis."
Right.
Like I agree with you that it's weird that they didn't know each other, but I did like just seeing Brick on screen and then whenever Jordan walked in being like, "Oh man, what's gonna happen?" Because the last time that he was around, she wasn't attached to anyone, and so they were being all flirty and cute. And so now this time, poor Brick, she had to be like, "Sorry." So, I'm sorry. I'm just jealous. That's where it is. I'm just jealous of Jordan right now because she has these two beautiful men who are both offering to take her out to dinner and hang with her. So, but Brick, like I love seeing him, but he didn't do much for the storyline. Like I feel like there's some extra scenes that need to be on Monday or something that show us like why he was actually in town. I know he saw Sunny and they discussed like business stuff, but none of it was earth shattering. Do you know what I mean? Like Brick comes into
Yeah.
town to be like, I investigated this and this is what's going on. And this week he was
Did
just
he?
kind of like, hey,
Oh, yeah, because the phone call he got, that's not why he came to town. Well, no, he came to town because he told Sonny and Jason that he was getting closer to finding out.
about why the like who set up the body stuff, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Dalton's body.
So, I mean, that was a little bit of something. I loved him and Carly flirting and Brennan being like, should I be jealous? And she's like, uh-huh.
Exactly. I just love Brick.
But so he gets a phone call, and then we find out the next day it's Joss called him to find out
And
how.
that I had a problem with. Why did he not realize like Jocelyn is not just asking this for a homework assignment. Like you know Carly well enough and he even says like of course I would come and see you. You're Carly's daughter and I love your mom and so you're like the next best thing. What can I do for you? Really? You're just giving her the information and resources freely to cut electricity to Wyndemere. It's not even like, hey, I don't want to take this test tomorrow. Can you tell me how to cut electricity to the such and such
Right.
building so I don't have to take this big exam? Wyndemere, come on.
Well, all of Spoon Island, because now apparently we have multiple islands in the harbor, which
Wi-
there are multiple islands in Boston Harbor.
Yeah. Um,
And the biggest no, maybe not yes, I will say the biggest controversy all week that I saw all over the place. Where are the parapets?
right?
So that building is the National Maritime Museum in Amsterdam in the Netherlands.
Yes.
No,
Right? We have seen the Cassadine Castle 100,000 times from the docks. We have looked out and been like, ah, there's the castle. And then they show us the front of that building this week, and it's like, what? What? It looks like it was just built yesterday. It's like so much fancier than the castle, and it doesn't look like a castle.
no, no,
So,
it's not big and brooding. It's not, the character's gone from it. It looks like a
right,
hotel.
right. Like, where's the gargoyles hanging off the top of it?
Where does anybody fall from?
Yeah. No,
Where's
I
the
do.
rocks? Where's the rocks?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Right.
it looks like it is itself the island.
Right.
Like
Right.
there's not
Like
even a front to it.
right. Just like concrete barriers so you don't fall into the water. There's no
Yeah.
actual it's up on the hill. Yeah.
Like whose
It,
idea was that?
I don't understand why we needed to use a new picture. Like you have to have the old pictures because we've looked at it 500 million times. Why didn't you just throw one of those up? I don't understand. But yeah, Brick's like, you need this for an assignment? And she's like, yeah, we're trying to learn how this reacts with this. So I would need to know how I'm going to cut the power to all of Spoon Island. And he just gives her the information.
Yep.
I would
Well,
have
because she says because the storm's on its way. And I'm sorry, did these writers manifest the storm that we just received?
Yes, yes, that is crazy timing that literally in our town we are facing everything that they're talking about. Like you cannot go out, or we just faced, you cannot go out. Your power may go out. Like who knows what's going on. So that
Yep.
was crazy perfect timing. But I would have preferred to see Joss ask that question somewhere on campus. Like can we see her in a classroom raising her hand asking one of the
Right.
professors, like hypothetically speaking, because I don't think a normal professor, if she didn't say Spoon Island exactly, she just said like a large area or whatever, I don't think they would have thought anything of it. But Brick should have caught on.
Right. Like, so, with the impending weather, how does it work if I would almost like reverse engineer it too and be like, why is it that sometimes certain areas, like this section goes out, but not this section, and
Right.
then have them explain a power grid
Yep.
and just work it back from there.
Yep. I would have been
But
all.
Joss is smart. She doesn't Google. So
That is true.
I guess
That is true. She's
I
protecting
could
her
learn something
history.
from Joss.
She's protecting her search history. There is none. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll take it. I'll see Brick under any circumstances. But yeah, I felt like other than him talking to Jocelyn, like why? It could have been a phone call, an email, or
Yep.
whatever.
Well, and
So
before that, she had talked to Jack on Pier 55 and was saying how the snowstorm's coming. She knows Wyndemere and that it goes without power frequently. And so if they could cut the power to it, she's pretty darn sure that they're already going to. She thought that they were already going to be staying inland to begin with,
yes.
but they did not. And then
Nope.
she mentioned that Ava brought up the catacombs and that would be a great way for them to be able to sneak into Wyndemere and look around because Lucas had mentioned wanting to go exploring and Marco was like, absolutely not. Marco knows. And we definitely found that out today because he called Cullum to
Yeah.
Spoon Island and Cullum was like, I work for your dad. And he's like, yeah, so my dad is not handling this really well. We need to take Sunny out. They talked about their guest.
Yes. I was excited, obviously moving ahead, but that Jocelyn did put stuff together because she went on Spoon Island. She ran into Colin. She was playing the dumb blonde as best as she could. He called her out and was like, oh, you're not as dumb as people may make you out to be. But he did refer to the chess game. So hopefully he's not catching on to her. But whenever she saw the book, she instantly was like, oh, that looks like Anna. And this says, it's dedicated to my muse or whatever. And she was putting stuff together. So I will be happily surprised if she's the one that recovers Anna.
That'd be good.
She needs to do something big to prove why we recruited her to the WSB.
Right.
Because so far, it's all just messy, weird stuff. Like everything that she did with Vaughn was more about the sex scenes between them than the mission that they were going on, like as the
Right.
takeaway. So if
Right.
she could rescue Anna, then I would feel like that choice was redeemed.
She was really quick on Uncle Lucas, Uncle Lucas. Although he introduced himself as Matthew, the caretaker of Wyndemere.
Yep.
And she was supposed to be the one bringing the keg to a party to another island.
Right. She got knocked off course on the way to the party, and she knew that that's where Uncle Lucas lived, so that she was fine detouring there for safety.
She also found the box of cigars, and we had seen before that Anna she's cracking, she was writing on the wall that she was taken on October 31st, 2025. Her birthday is the 29th. I really wish they had her abducted on her birthday.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Because that's something that someone obsessed with you would do because
Right.
they'd want to start celebrating with you. But Faison's voice is talking about Britt and Nathan, and Anna questions if Peter's really back. And he didn't say no, but I feel like the way that, because he said two of my children, he keeps saying, that voice keeps saying two of my children.
Right.
And we know for a fact that it's Nathan and
Correct.
Britt. He asked her why she never killed him when she's had plenty of opportunities.
Yes.
That was a really interesting question.
Yeah. I'm sure that your husband will explain it to us whenever he tells us all about Faison.
He
There has
will.
to be
He
a
will.
reason.
But we ended the only part that was the only time that we saw Anna, and that was the power went out then also, and we saw a door open, and you know that that's somebody in a mask and like a crazy Einstein wig
Right,
because Faison's taller than that.
right.
So I think that I'm onto something with the Cullum being Faison. He's at least impersonating him.
Yeah, I agree. That would make sense because I mean, we didn't see, not that we have to see everyone on the island, but we didn't see anyone else consistently on the island the way that we did Colin this week. And
Yes.
whenever Britt was talking about, everything that she was explaining to Jason, we'll get to, but one of the things that she said was like, what's most dangerous is that he's also WSB. He's not just this. So,
Well, I think we could get into that.
all
I mean,
right.
real quick, at the beginning of the week, Jason went to see Britt at work. She started throwing a fit and was like, I'm going to get a restraining order, asked Lucas to be a witness. Says that if he ever cared for her or respected her, like he would just stay away. And she leaves, and Jason looks at Lucas and is like, I'm really sorry you got dragged into that. Lucas is like, I don't even know what that was.
All right.
But then we saw Britt went to Spoon Island because Marco summoned her,
Mm-hmm.
and Lucas showed up because she told Lucas, and this is the thing, like she started over explaining, she's like, I need to leave. Lucas said, fine, just go
Right.
then,
Right.
just go. And she's like, well, my mom needs some stuff before the storm and yada, yada, yada. So Lucas then gets done because Britt only asked him to check in on one person. And so she's fine. And so he leaves, goes to Spoon Island, and walks in on Britt yelling at Marco, saying that
Mm-hmm.
she just wants to be done with this. And he had been telling her that he'll basically turn her into Cullum.
Right.
And so, oh, the one thing that Britt and Lucas discussed before she left was they were comparing her relationship with Jason to Lucas's relationship with Brad.
Yeah, I don't think that's a fair comparison, but okay.
But Britt says that she was Sidwell's personal concierge doctor. And Lucas gets all offended because he's like, wait a second. I live here now
Right,
and I'm your
right,
boyfriend. Like, you don't think that I would help you out?
right. Even Ava walked in and was like, "Why would you call someone else when you have my handsome, well-qualified nephew here?"
Yep, exactly. So then the power goes out. Marco is like, somebody has to stay behind for our guest. So everyone leaves. Sidwell gets everyone to go. Was there anything before that? Or no, they were just talking about staying at Wyndemere the night to ride out the storm and everything. So
Right.
they all leave. And then we don't see anything until Jason is bringing Britt in and she's passed out. And it turns out that they are at the old harbor master's office, or the old office for the harbor master, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so she starts to actually she tells him, she's also someone who took their own boat to the island because the launch was going to be too slow. Also, why wouldn't you just say the launch was not running?
Right.
Because I feel like in a weather event like this, the launch would not be running. And also, why does Wyndemere only have one generator? Because that's one thing that they kept saying. I was under the impression that they only had one.
Right.
Does LA not have generators?
I don't know. I
Like, do they not need them?
maybe not. I mean, I would think they would have just as many emergencies as we do, just for different reasons that you would need a generator.
I mean, I don't have one, but my friend who lived, yeah, why every home in Los Angeles needs a backup generator.
Okay. But
So,
just one, so that's where they go for their numbers.
but I mean, if you're gonna now tell us that there's that mansion, maybe that's it. Maybe they upgraded the entire outside whenever they installed the generator.
Sure.
Anyway, turns out that she was on her way to Windermere, but then her boat gets knocked over in the water or whatever. She thought she was going to die. Did they ever say actually how Jason found her then?
Nope.
Okay,
Nope.
so it's not like she washed up on shore. He wasn't out and about.
I was like convinced that I missed something because I was like, wait, where did he get her from? I'm not understanding. And she gives a whole description of how her boat was taking on water and whatever. And I'm like, why would Jason be in the water also? Like, it's not a
The only
spring
thing I
day.
could think of is if somebody told him that Joss was going to Spoon Island and he was going to Spoon Island after Joss. That's the only thing I could think of, but we never were told. And then like he would have
No.
seen Britt in the water because he had his own boat.
Right. But yeah,
But
he
that,
saved her.
yep. And so she tells him that she's been lying this whole time, basically since she
She tells him that after it appears that they hooked up. There was just like a lot of scenes. I'm not saying that we need the adult scenes, but there was just a lot of stuff that they did splice out. I feel like that was like, wait, we're jumping from one thing to the next because she was all wrapped up in her blankets and he's talking about warming up in front of the fire and giving her like more blankets and stuff. And then it goes away from them and then it comes back from them and she's sitting there just wrapped in blankets with no clothes. Like you don't see him say, to get warmed up, you need to take off your clothes so that we can dry them or whatever.
see, I didn't think anything like that had happened with them yet. I thought that it was she took off her wet clothes.
No, because whenever she stood in front of him, she said, well, that's one way to avoid hypothermia. She was sitting on the bed all wrapped up in her blankies, and he was sitting in front of the fireplace. And then they were like looking at each other, and then she stood up and he stood up, and she was standing right in front of him before she went into the whole spiel about, but I've lied to you and I don't know where to go from here and whatever. And well, right before that, he was saying about you don't trust me. And then she said, well, I lied to you or whatever. But before all of that conversation started, he had his hand on her shoulder and she was like, well, that was quite the way to avoid hypothermia. And so that's where you're led to think that they had just hooked up to avoid hypothermia.
I missed that. I don't remember hearing that line because I thought that it was only at the end of the week.
Yeah. I don't know. When she was wrapped in the blankets, that's what she said. And then he said, I want you to trust me. I know you don't trust me completely. And then she went into the, well, you shouldn't trust me because I lied to you and aren't you mad? And I was like, well, isn't that convenient that she waited till after they hooked up to be like, by the way, I lied to you. And then she told him all about how she was continuing on with Faison's work under Cullum's direction, and that if she didn't continue the work, that she was not going to get the it's not a cure, but the medicine for her Huntington's. And he went right back to, well, we could just get me a vial of it and we can reconstruct it and figure out what it is. And she keeps trying to explain to him, like, it's not that easy. If it was that easy, I would have done that already. So,
Right, because there's a chance that they don't know who is making it. So she doesn't know who's in their pocket. But she says, like, Sidwell is a part of this, but he's not the most dangerous, that Cullum is, and he's working for the WSB. I still think I'm right that it's actually going to be the DVX and we're getting the DVX back.
yes.
But then she tells him all about how, Cullum keeps meeting with Rocco, how he keeps threatening her, how, she did think she was dying when Heather Weber attacked her. And Cullum was explaining that Faison had created this drug, but it was too late for him. But they'll be able to use it on her as long as she helps with the final project. And she also tells him that Sidwell murdered Dalton.
Yes. And the look on his face, that was like, I loved that you could see he was genuinely shocked, but then also like all the puzzle pieces clicking in his brain. Like, okay, so that's how we ended up with him in Laura's trunk and why this is all connected. And I was like, yes, thank you, Jason. You're making the same connections we've all been doing.
Right.
So
that's
excited.
Going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes. I felt like it was a little off just the way that it went because, like I said, I was confused like how he found her, and then that I was under the impression that they hooked up, but maybe they didn't. I'm not sure, that kind of stuff. But the idea that she finally has told him the whole truth and isn't holding back, I'm excited to see him help her get out of all of it.
One thing we forgot was when Brick was talking to Sonny and Jason, he said that whoever is targeting him is in the WSB.
Yes.
Because it was the WSB slush fund that paid for the firebombing of his house and the attack in LA.
Right. Which was important. I just do feel like that could have been a phone call.
But then he wouldn't have been able to see Carly.
I mean, right. I think that's the only reason he really comes to Port Charles now.
Yeah. And before that, Sonny and Jason had been discussing Sidwell and talking about how Ava is interested in Sidwell because Ava had just been, this is where Sonny, what was the phrase, manipulates Ava? No, Steve brought Avery's dance recital outfit to Sonny. Sonny said, I don't want you hanging out with Sidwell, that he's not a man that she should be involved with. And she's like, well, he's a good businessman like you, and he appreciates art like me. And you of all people know that I can handle myself. I am fully aware of who he is, and I'm going to spend time with. If he had said, I don't want Avery around him, fine.
Right.
But it was a completely pointless conversation because, one, he knows that about Ava.
Right. And I feel like he's had that same conversation with her before about other men, and she's been like, yeah, no, you don't get to tell me who I can and can't date. And if she told you that you can or can't date someone, you wouldn't respect that any more than what she's respecting what you say. So why do we
Yep.
just keep having the same conversation about different men?
And then when Jason gets there, he fills Jason in on, we thought that Lucy was with Sidwell, but now like Ava is interested in him. So if we can get Ava and Lucy fighting, that'll kind of be a distraction. But then
Mm-hmm.
they talk about, Jason brings up Britt just completely doing a 180 and about how Carly's the problem, but he still doesn't entirely know how, but that's just, but he also knew that the entire argument was staged, but he's just like trying to figure it out. And Sunny reminds him that Britt has like complete self-preservation mode, and that's her instinct. And so he was kind of looking out for Jason, being like, dude, I don't want you to get your heart hurt.
Yep.
Oh, and Carly talked to Sidwell at the Metro Court,
Yes.
and she was like, have you ever thought about why I let you in my restaurant or my hotel and my restaurant? And he was like, well, because you're a forgiving heart, or you need a favor. And so he asks what he can do. And as soon as she mentions Lucas, he's like, I will not be breaking him up with my son. I'm not going to sabotage the relationship. Lucas makes Marco happy. He just lost his mom last year, not doing it. He insists that Marco is not working for him. And he says, but however, I will work on you and Lucas mending your relationship and help
Yes.
you reconcile. And
Which is
then,
nice and all, except for the fact that they're lying about him having involvement in his dad's business. And that's going to break Lucas's heart. And then I'm going to be so sad.
well, and that's what she was telling Brick when they were sitting outside the main lot, like they were sitting like in the little lobby area. Because he was like, whoa, who were you just talking to and why? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he knew who she was talking to, but why?
Right.
And she tells him all about like Lucas and Marco and how she's worried that Lucas is going to get hurt. Because then Ava goes and meets Sidwell, and she says that she was just at Sunny's, and he's like, oh, I hope there wasn't any problems with your co-parenting because of me.
Right.
And she's like, there's always discord. Discord is the word. There's always discord with Sunny. And they just kept talking about how like Ava spilled the beans. Ava's smarter than this. If Sunny is telling, like, she knows Sunny really, she might not agree with why he is making these requests, but she does know, especially in this situation. It's not like Nicholas, where she and Nicholas had a deep relationship and then maybe he started saying something.
Right.
I was surprised that she told Sidwell all the issues that Sunny has with her being friends with him.
Right. Especially whenever he opened the conversation like that, because you knew that was a manipulation. You knew it was like he's saying, I hope there was no issues, but he means, I hope there was issues because I can't stand Sunny and I want to mess with him in any way that I can. So
Right.
for her to give out all that extra information, I don't understand what the point. Like, hold on to that, girlfriend. You may need it in the future.
Yep. And then Brennan and Cullen. So Brennan has no clue.
Right.
He really has no idea because he thinks that the purchase of the Pierce was legit. He tells Cullum all about how Sonny doesn't seem to know Sidwell's business. He just knows that he's in there. And Cullum's like, so I think that you're just turning a blind eye to Sonny because of Carly. And Brennan says that he is only dating Carly to get info on Sonny. And Joss is hanging out right around the corner.
Yep. I can't stand Brennan.
No. And then he called Nina because he saw Charlotte at did he see Charlotte at the Metro Court? He just knew that she was there. Calls Nina and is like, you need to go pump Charlotte for information. We know that we knew this a while ago, though, that like he's the one who got the footage. And she's like, well, she's already been found not guilty. So there's double jeopardy. He's like, that doesn't matter. The court of public opinion will have her head if this comes out.
Yep. And then Charlotte sees that Nina is talking and is like, huh, that's funny. You are supposed to have my back. And I thought of you as like a mom figure and you're throwing me under the bus for your other daughter. And so then she just disappears and no one knows where she went.
Yep. Oh, see, I thought that she actually overheard him asking Nina to get info on her.
Is that what she heard? Or she heard him ask, or she only heard Nina say like what she knew?
Either
I don't
way,
know.
I thought that she definitely knows that like because she thought back to that conversation that they had at the Metro Court where Nina was like, "You can't even trust me."
Right. I don't
Oh,
know
because
exactly what she heard.
why was she leaving? Because her and Lulu were there getting dinner, and then Lulu got the phone call that her security detail had been called off. And well, but while Lulu was taking that call, Carly and Charlotte talked, and
Yes.
Carly was like, "You need to not see your dad. Your dad
Right.
loves you. He knows that you love him, but you have to stay away from Sidwell. You have to stay away from my house." And she's like, "Well, what if we came up with a reason? Why don't they have her babysit Donna?
Yep. That would work.
You know, she's age appropriate."
Right. I mean, she worked at Lila's Kids and stuff, so we know
Right.
that she is like been around kids. She's good with kids, and that would be a totally normal like, hey,
Yep. Can my cousin's daughter watch my daughter
yep.
last minute, you know? So, but Charlotte wanted to really go see Butterscotch to make sure that her horse was okay. Butterscotch is the horse at the Quartermain Mansion.
Hmm.
When she did leave, she went to the Quartermains and Danny helped her. And she tells him, yeah, because she tells him that Nina betrayed her.
Yes.
And so they decided that they were going to go see Valentine. And I wrote this before the kiss. She's now dated brothers,
Oh
starting them young.
man.
Because remember, she went out with Jake,
Yep.
and they're both biologically Jasons.
Yep.
So, but Carly saw Valentine and was surprised that Charlotte wasn't there because they couldn't find her. And so he gets all worked up and wants to go find her. They do have a really good back and forth.
I knew you were going to say that.
They do. It's him, though. It's him. He has chemistry. He could have chemistry with a wall.
True. That is true.
He could stare at his shadow, and people would be rooting for him in his shadow. Like,
No, I mean, it definitely helps that it's Carly because it's Carly. And I love the fact that they are acknowledging, as much as I still don't want it to happen, that they are acknowledging that they didn't like each other, that they didn't think that they were good people. Because he insists that he's going to go look for Charlotte, and she tries to tell him not to. I did think it was funny that, like, you think Charlotte's missing, but you don't have your ringer on to be alerted of your text messages because her phone was sitting right there and popped up when Lulu had then found
right.
out that Charlotte was at the Quartermains. And he went out after she had received that text. But he goes out, and then a little bit later, you see Carly getting all bundled up and going out. And then he's coming back, and they sit down to warm up by the fire. And he says, like, "You're not what I thought that you were." And she's like, "You're not who I thought you were either, because you, like, stole my cousin's baby and you did all these other horrible things." And so I liked that they didn't just have them, like, him walk in the door and then embrace romantically and start making out or something. Like, none of that bad stuff ever happened, because I would have been so mad.
Right.
So,
You know, and he even asked, he's like, "So when I got back, though, you were in a coat and boots.
right.
Like, what were you doing?" Because he didn't even make it to the edge of the property.
Yes, exactly. So I do hope, if they're going to put them together, even though I don't want them to, that it is this, like, slow burn where, like, later Brennan ends up showing up and Valentine goes back upstairs, and then you see Carly and Brennan making out and Valentine upstairs, like, laying in his bed looking upset, annoyed, and
Yeah.
in thought. And so I'm like, okay, make it take time. Do not rush. I know some of them I'm like, yeah, let's get them together quickly. But this one, I need a little more
No.
time to accept. We need to see the back and forth.
When she said that he could stay in the guest room,
Yes.
I thought, nope, this is not happening tonight. It's
Mm-hmm.
nope. But it was because they were supposed to be snowed in. No one was going to be coming in. No one was going to be leaving. So
Right, the roads were supposed to be closed, and then stupid Brennan shows up anyway.
I don't know how she's still sleeping with him, but I mean, I guess you have to.
I mean, she had to give herself a pep talk, so that was pretty
Yep.
funny. Like, we can do this, Carly. He's gonna walk down
Yep.
the steps and be like, "What? Oh, sorry, I just had to give myself a pep talk before I tried to hook up with you because you're so gross."
We need to start paying attention to Carly's shoes, though, because she looked so teeny tiny next to Brennan.
Oh, I didn't even notice it.
I feel like she's normally closer, like eye to eye, but it looked like she was, I don't know. I thought that Laura Wright looked considerably smaller. Like, just Brennan looked a lot bigger, like a more
I mean, that would make sense based on what their costume outfits are where
Right.
they are at. Because when she's at work, she normally would be in heels, so she would be as
Exactly.
tall as him. But at home, she should be barefoot or in slippers.
Right.
So,
Yep.
okay, I will try to pay attention.
But she said that it was Jason that was going to stop by because as soon as I saw the two glasses, I was like, nope, 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 nope,
Yes,
nope.
right.
Yep. But
And she had a good cover quickly. Like she is good at thinking on her feet. She's like, Jason was supposed to come by, and then they said how bad the roads were, and I told him don't even bother. But I had already set this up to like warm him up from the cold.
yeah. Okay. When they were kissing on the couch, though, did you see him laughing?
No, I didn't pay that close enough
It
attention.
it looked like he was like kissing her, but like smiling, like they had just been laughing because
Oh,
they've known each other forever,
forever. Yeah,
So I'm like,
that would be
I
cute.
mean,
That
I
would
don't know. It also could have been Brennan really happy, but I'm like, okay, what happened right before this take that he looks like he's kissing her after they just had like a good laugh, you
right.
know? Like, did she eat a bunch of onions beforehand? Oh, do you ever hear about that though from like celebrities where they say like their partner does gross stuff to,
Right, because they don't like them. Yeah.
oh no, to just kill the mood. So that also nothing,
Oh, I haven't read any that are to kill the mood. I've read it more of like the horror stories of, oh, I didn't like my co-star, so I made
oh
sure that,
no.
yeah.
Ew.
So, um,
Oh, but then we saw Danny and Charlotte made it to the gatehouse, and so they're making s'mores. And Charlotte's never had a s'more. They made them at Lila's kids, but she thought that they seemed so messy, so she never had one. So Danny made her one. And then
yeah.
Rocco shows up, and they explained that they didn't tell him because he's a bad liar.
Right. I didn't like at first how they were playing him like looking so disappointed. And I'm like, you can't be disappointed. Like, this isn't a redo of Emma with Spencer and whatever. Like, why is he acting like, oh, I should have been invited. You guys are excluding me, like in a romantic way.
Right.
But then they were like, well, you're just a really bad liar and you feel so guilty lying to mom. And Charlotte's like, and I don't. So it's fine.
And she said, like, it's not a bad thing. It's just who you are.
Right. So I'm glad that they like explained it away some because I don't know. Normally, I don't think that they need like a fourth person, but if they're going to couple them up and make it seem like he's jealous, then they do need somebody else to come in there because he has to be jealous. It has to show that he's jealous of the friendship and being excluded continuously, not jealous like, oh, he had a romantic interest in his sister because that would just be gross.
Right.
Almost as gross as kissing your best friend's husband.
Poor JD was watching with me. Not the
What?
first time. Because why did we have to show it again?
Right? Right? They showed it.
He watched Friday with me.
Yes, we ended Thursday and then started Friday with it. No. No. I just
And I
didn't.
did not like, okay, at least there was the pullback, the initial pullback, but then there was the going for it again.
I thought that they were going to end up hooking up like after. So, okay, we see them make it to the garage. They're talking about how, what's the coffee shop now, but it's the garage.
Oh,
And how
yeah.
they
Did
make
you
it
ever know
there.
the name of it?
No.
It's Bad Jen's Cafe.
Oh, that's
So that's
funny.
why he said something about, I'll have to tell Jen that I picked her lock. And so, of course, I did. Took a picture of the menu board because over Lulu's shoulder, I have actually never really paid attention to this menu board before, but there was a part of it when they were talking about how they can't do this, blah, blah, blah. It said Sabrina's Espresso.
Oh, that's funny. That's
So
super
then
funny.
there's also a clementine latte, a coconut cappuccino, ginger matcha, minty mocha, a rose latte, affogato, and Bad Jen drip. And then there's also Bad Jen merch.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Now we need some Bad Gen merch.
I know.
Um, yeah, I never paid attention to it before. But yeah, they're in the coffee shop and she finally gets the text back from Charlotte that says, I'm safe at the queues, like you can calm down. And then she goes in the back to look and see if they have any blankets or anything, which like why would they? And then she comes out with the bottle of alcohol and is like, well, this will keep us warm as long as we are sure we're not going to go back out on the roads. And he's like, no, we're not going on the roads. It's closed. And then they sit down and they're playing two truths and a lie and going back and forth. And then they kiss and she's like, oh, because of the alcohol. And he instantly dives into, well, no, it's not because of the alcohol. I actually really have feelings for you because you're the one that's helped me like come back from the dead and be alive. And we have so much in common now and whatever. And I thought for a minute that they were both going to be like, I mean, as long as we keep it a secret just for this one time while we're snowed in and we're going to end up hooking up. So I was happy that they did not because I was mad.
Well, apparently he knows the entire periodic table by heart.
Yes, and she made him recite the whole thing.
And it's because his dad made him.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I didn't think you spent time with your dad. I thought he ignored you.
Yep. And he's like, where'd you get that from? And she's like, well, that's what you told Maxie. So how are you guys going to sit there and talk about Maxie and then a minute later be all smoochy? Ew.
Right. Well, because he wants to be the man that she thinks he is.
Yeah.
Ew.
No. Right.
No.
The man that I think you are is someone that wouldn't kiss your wife's best friend. How
Right.
about that?
I did like, though, that he said she did move on. And, that is what he would have wanted. And it was 7 years ago and all that. However, she is still in a coma right now.
Right, right. If she was around and was like, hey, listen, I made my choice. Sorry that this is how everything is. And then you wanted to maybe, it's still, for all the reasons that they listed, as far as Dante and the kids and all that stuff. But at least let Maxie be awake and alert enough to give her 2 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last thing she needs is to come out of a coma and see her best friend and her husband that she thought was dead hooking up.
Yeah.
So mad. I know we knew they were going to do it, but I was still mad.
We've already talked about this. From the
Right.
second they started hanging out, we were like, no.
Yep. The answer is no.
And also, it is out of character for both of them. And I understand that we're all being led to believe that, now Nathan is probably not actually Nathan. There's something wrong with his memory that, it almost feels like he's doing the Devil Wears Prada, where it's like he had to memorize stats and
Right.
things. And then he was like, oh, shoot, was that not me? Like, did I remember something that they told me about Britt? Because that's what he said. He said something about, didn't he say something about Britt?
Britt was the golden child because she could apply the things that she learned. And
Yes.
his father quickly realized that although he could memorize, he couldn't apply them to the science or the math or whatever. And so he was of no use.
Yes. Bring him back in that half brain theory.
Oh, man.
So do we want to go with down the Tracy route or down the Portia?
Go to Tracy because I can't do Portia yet.
Okay. So when the storm is starting, Gio and Emma go to the Quartermain Mansion, and Tracy tells him that his great-great-grandfather had a painting that he got when he was lost in the Bahamas, that Emma's grandmother found him because he was just faking being dead. Emma's like, why would he do that? She's like, listen, we don't ask those questions anymore, but your mom or your grandma found him.
Right.
But it was a painting featuring street musicians, and Gio's so excited about it. He's like, that'd be great. I can, I have this great space above my bed at Grandpa Sonny's. And Tracy's like, no. Tracy just says, nope. Edward would be rolling over in his grave if he knew that one of his prized possessions was in Sonny Corinthos's house. So we will keep it here until you get your own space. But they're like, and he's like, well, cool. Can I see it? Then she tells them that no, it's not there yet. It's going to be coming with the movers because they're getting all the stuff from Drew's because she is, I don't want to say taking advantage of, but she is taking advantage of the fact that he is not home and going to get those boxes. And so they offer to help her. And then they go back to the apartment to get boots and gloves because nobody in the entire mansion would have had boots and gloves for them to borrow so that they didn't get stuck. I mean, I'm sure that they're fine, but we never saw them for the rest of the week, but I'm sure that they were okay, keeping themselves busy.
Hopefully that heating issue's fixed.
Right? So Tracy just goes over by herself. Oh, we found out that she made a copy of Drew's key when Scout was visiting Monica.
Yes. That was brilliant.
And so the movers canceled because of the weather. So she's like, fine, I'll just go over and do it myself. And so she goes over and Martin's squatting at Drew's.
Yep. He says that Willow knows. I'm not saying she does. I'm just saying that's what he said. Yeah. But then they're talking about he's blaming Tracy for why he has to be there because he has no money and it's all her fault because of she cost him his relationship with Lucy, and then she cost him all his money by the stuff with his ex-wives and all of that stuff. So his downfall is all her fault. And she's like, no, the problem is that you keep going after the same type of woman, and you need to be with someone that you are aware of who they actually are instead of the painting that you're putting in your head of what you want them to be. And so then she talks about Luke and how he was her one true love and how they really knew each other and that they were so perfect. And he like kind of got to be like a jerk for a second and was like, well, I'm glad that the downfall of my sister's marriage is what led you to your great love. And she's like, no, that was years and years before that. Like, you're not paying attention to history,
Well,
bro.
he said, I thought that my sister was his true love. And
Yeah.
Tracy did not argue that. She did
Nope.
not say she wasn't.
Nope.
She
No.
just said
Yeah.
their relationship was over for years before.
Right. And she said we had to go through all that stuff. Like, we had to have the kids that we had. We had to be married to the people that we were and divorce the people that we did and all of that stuff to end up who we were at that point in life. And then we just went together and it was perfect and how it was supposed to be. And I was like, oh man, I loved them together as much as they fought constantly and were always arguing about something. Like, that love was a good love story.
I really want to know why, because we're just now 6 weeks
Right.
from his passing.
Yep.
I'm going to be so mad if there was an opportunity for him to have come back for even a minute.
Right. I don't know. I'm not going there. I'm not thinking of that.
No,
But
we can't.
right. But yeah, she talks all about that and how he needs to find his one true love. And I don't know, are they gonna end up putting him and Tracy together? Like, they were being not flirty, but just like silly with each other because he wanted the alcohol and she's like, here, I put some in this thermos for you. And he's like, I can't drink alcohol out of Scout's thermos. And she's like, you'll rinse it out, it'll be fine.
But that was the sweetest thing is that he's like, she's a little girl. It had nothing to do with the fact that it was, I mean, he eventually said out of a princess thing, but the first thing he said was, that is a child. And she's like,
Right.
you rinse it out, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to hand it to her with alcohol in it. What the heck? So, yeah, they were, I don't know. I don't think that I'd be opposed to it, but they were kind of talking that makes you wonder, is that going to be the next hookup?
I want them to be friends. I want them to be what she is missing from Finn.
Right.
Because I feel like at her age, and especially with how tragically Luke died, I'm not saying that she can't. Like, I'm not saying that there is an age limit on when you can find love, but I just feel like for her, she doesn't, because she was upset about Gregory,
Mm-hmm.
but then she realized that they were really good friends.
Right.
And I almost felt like after that did not happen with Gregory, I felt like she maybe kind of just decided
Yeah.
her romantic life is, but I mean, who knows? It could be, I don't know. Because I also I don't want a bad relationship
Right.
for her or for him either. But like him with Lucy was great.
Yeah. I would love
You
him
know,
back with Lucy, but I mean, him and Tracy, sometimes that fighting leads to a friendship. So,
yeah, but I want them to do that first. I don't want them to immediately go
right.
in from enemies, much like Carly and Valentine, to lovers.
Yes.
We need them to really bury the hatchet before they even consider that.
Right. Does that just leave us with Portia?
No, we also have Cody and Molly. I forgot about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good.
Heartbreaking.
It was just so sad because they were snowed in together. So he got mad and she's like, whatever, I'm leaving. And he's like, yeah, remember, you can't. So they wake up in the morning and she says something about she needs to go and he's like, oh yeah, we're snowed in. So then they go back to bed for a while and then they come down and he yells at the dog because the dog knocked her bag off the table. And then he sees the manuscript. Well, she had said before that.
Before that, because she was checking her email and he's like, what, you can't go more than 4 hours without your email? And she's like, well, I still have work to do. Like, we don't know exactly what day of the week it was. So, I mean,
Right.
Whatever. So she finds out that Christina had submitted her book to the publisher.
Yes.
And the publisher's like, yeah, this could absolutely be made into
Yep.
we could absolutely release
A whole
this and sell it.
series. She was offering a whole series. And
Yep.
so Molly's like, I'm so into my law career. If it was a whole series, that's like pressure to write and a book tour and all that stuff. And it's supposed to just be fun. I don't want to do all of that. So Christina should not have taken it upon herself to submit it. And he's like, but it must be good then, so let me read it. And she doesn't say no, but she doesn't hand it to him either. So then
Right.
whenever he comes downstairs, he sees that Outback knocked her bag on the floor. I would have been like concerned about her computer. Like it was thrown on the floor there too. But he picks up everything and then he sees the manuscript and he sits down and starts reading it. And then she comes down and is like, what are you doing? And so then he says, you just see me as some loser guy who, can't make it in life and doesn't know what they're doing and all these horrible things that she wrote in her book. And she's like, but that was the beginning. You have to read the rest of the book and see like how her perception changes and how things go on. And he was not having any of it. So then she gets mad and is like, fine, I'll leave. And he's like, yeah, you can't. You're snowed in. And I felt frustrated for her because I was like, oh man, that'd be the worst.
Well, I feel bad for him though, because he even said, I know that other people thought this about me, but he never thought she did. Like probably even back when he was getting arrested and, all that stuff. He never thought that she thought he was 6 feet of stupid.
Right.
And that's harsh.
That is harsh. That is harsh, but it also has to be embellished some for a book. Like, I think he needs to take it with that grain of salt that you embellish things for a book.
Yeah, but he's hurt.
But she said, like, that was the first impressions, too. Like, obviously, that's not what she thinks now when she was just upstairs with you.
Right.
But he calls her out and says, like, that's why we were upstairs, is because you didn't want me to read this. So,
yeah.
I don't know. They'll work it out. It'll be okay. I have faith in them.
Me too.
So,
unlike
if I could give a gold star for making things about you that aren't about you and manipulating your adult children, that is what Portia would get. I could not believe that she stood there like, okay, yeah, she can say whatever she normally says. You have to forgive me. I'm your mom. I love you, whatever. And Trina was giving it all right back to her of this baby is coming into the world the same way that I came into the world, even though I didn't know it at the time, of who's my dad, and you're married to one guy, but you might be knocked up by someone else, and I didn't want this for this baby, and I just don't know what this is going to mean and how it's going to translate into life. And Portia, like, totally manipulates all of it and is like, well, I know that you're a better person than this.
From the get-go, she showed up because she didn't think she would turn her away because of the weather.
Right. You're not going to put me back out in the storm. Yeah. And so then she says, well, I know that you're not the kind of person who would hold your anger towards me towards your younger sibling, so it won't affect your relationship. Like, how dare you use that unborn baby like that? And how dare you tell Trina, I know you're not that kind of person? Like, why does she always have to be the adult in the situation? And why does she always have to be the bigger person? And then she finally said, like, I forgave you way too fast the first time around when it had to do with me because I thought that's what everyone needed and that's what I wanted. But no, you don't get to do a redo of the same exact mistake. Like,
Well, that's what she very, very blatantly said. Like, this baby is also from an affair. She's like, I did not like that she said, you cheat. She's calling Taggart now, and I don't like it.
Right.
At all.
Nope, me neither.
She's saying, you cheated on Taggart, the man I call dad. He raised you.
Right. He is your dad.
Your dad.
Yep.
He might not be your biological father that you now have a relationship with and you can now refer to as a dad.
Right.
Taggart is your real dad. And I don't even think Curtis would argue with that.
Right.
That made me so mad.
Yep.
And then, okay, she 100% did not stub her toe, right? And she totally made that up. I think she went out there and kicked the thing.
On purpose to wake Trina up.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. See, I didn't think that she was that
because she was like, oh, you don't have like an ice pack or like, because it was all about how she could heal her. Trina's gonna go no contact, and Portia's gonna go, I don't know what happened.
Right. No, if Trina tries to go no contact, Portia's going to suddenly be on bed rest. And there's going to be a chance that she's going to lose the baby. And she's going to
Because
need
remember,
all of
that
that
was the
stuff.
noise that she made. She made such a, I mean,
Right.
okay, and we've all stubbed our toes, and it is not a delightful experience.
No.
But I absolutely think that she was manipulating it, because then when Trina said, "Okay, you're fine, I'm going back to bed," she's like, "But we were just making progress."
Yeah.
So it was all about getting Trina up and talking. Portia probably couldn't sleep. I think, okay, even if she did stub her toe, I think she intentionally did it.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of if it was intentional, like if the stubbing of the toe was intentional or not, the big hoopla around it was definitely intentional to make sure that there was a conversation being had. But I just, I could understand wanting a relationship with your daughter and wanting to heal the issue that there is, but you don't do that by manipulating the kid even more and being like, well, you can't be mad at me because I just know that you're a better person than that. What?
Yep. And
It's
your child is telling you exactly what the problem is, and you are refusing to work on it.
Yeah.
And you're making them feel like they are absolutely crazy for having feelings that are completely valid.
Right.
And that's how she was raised. And so this is all that she knows. And so she is just now in her 20s realizing that, oh, gee, this is messed up.
Yeah.
And she's actually, Trina really is actually trying to save the relationship by being honest with Portia about her thoughts and
Right.
how these things are a problem. And
Right.
it's probably going to take her a few years before she finally just says, nope.
We need Kevin to come back from Ireland already because he needs to start seeing Trina to help her through her emotions with my mom as a master manipulator.
Right.
I was just so mad. Like, how dare you?
Yeah.
And I feel like Trina is lost because normally Trina goes to Ava for help with situations. And I don't feel like Ava's going to call Portia out on being so manipulative and like gaslighting her because now they're kind of sort of friends.
I guess that'll be interesting to see how, if Trina tells Ava about this,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably going to, maybe, I didn't even think about that this could shift her relationship with Ava.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Ava would ever put Portia first.
I don't think she would put Portia first. I just don't think that she's going to see it in the same light because she's giving Portia grace that she doesn't deserve.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But yeah, totally made me angry. That manipulation. Awful.
Yep, it is.
Hmm.
On that note,
Reality check.
how was your week?
And it takes you right into reality check, huh? I
I
tried
don't know
to
what you're talking about.
I tried to stay away from people who manipulate me, and I tried not to manipulate anyone myself. That's my reality check.
Yay!
No, it really was like a very, very boring week. Madeline was off school all week because of the snow and then the freezing cold temperatures here. Um, it was nice. Our district gave us Monday as a traditional snow day. So all day Sunday and all day Monday, she was outside in the snow, loving it. The neighbor kid came up and they were playing. And I don't know how she didn't get frostbite because she was out there for hours. It would come in for like 20 minutes and then go right back out again. I had so much laundry to do this week from all the layers and everything that she was wearing. But the rest of the week, they were just online and did their stuff that way. But I guess I was lucky I didn't have anywhere that I had to be. And so I was like, yeah, I'm just going to stay inside and stay snugly warm and enjoy the excuse of it's too cold. I can't go anywhere. So,
We're snowed in. Can't, there's
right.
too much ice on the ground.
Exactly. And that is seriously like being snowed in the house. I was like content with that. But she did have dance. And so even taking her to dance, Thursday was the first day that I took her. And as I was driving, I was like, there really is no place to put all this snow. Like the roads may be clear, but there is these walls of snow everywhere still because it's just way too much. And that's crazy because I don't think we've had a storm like that in so long. So this is the first one that she's been
16
around for.
years.
I was going to say, I
Yeah,
think the
16
last one
years.
was 2010.
Yep.
And so she wasn't even alive for that one. So she is very much like, this is crazy. But yeah, that was it. The other kids did whatever they needed to do, but I didn't see anybody because it was cold and snowy. So
Yeah. Kind of the same thing. Like yoga was canceled, so we didn't do that. I mean, the group's been texting,
Mhm.
but well, because where we go is actually considered the city, and like our city, Pittsburgh City, lost 35 plows, and so even the main neighborhoods, like their main streets, were not touched. And my daughter works off one of them, and on Tuesday, JD was still working from home, and he said, "Do you want me to take her?" Because we had heard about, the plows, we had heard that the roads weren't touched, anything, and he has the truck, so let him take her to work. And he said, like, my car would have made it, but definitely still glad that he took her.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it really was just so much canceled. And I read the book. I am regretting so much not having read this book before because I've had it recommended to me, I think by the same person at least twice.
Oh.
Remarkably Bright Creature by Shelby Van Pelt is so good. It's about an octopus that's in an aquarium, but it's so good. And ironically, because she had commented on my Goodreads post and said, like, you should read this. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you told me this a couple years ago too. And then a friend of mine actually texted me and said, so I actually just got that book on my Kindle. Let me know if you're going to read it. And I was like, I'll request it right now, and we'll read it together. So we had a little mini book club, I guess, during a snowstorm.
Oh, nice.
She finished it first though, but
Yeah. I'll have to check it out. I have like extra credits on my Audible account that I'm like, I want to use these and then cancel it because I'm not using them fast enough. So
yeah.
I will have to check it out.
And then it still hasn't really hit me because so my office was supposed to merge with another one in 2020 and then COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then we knew it was finally going to happen at some point in 2025. It was supposed to be in the fall, and then it was supposed to be the first week in December, and then it still wasn't happening. So when we found out that it was going to happen in February, we're like, sure. And I did actually bring everything home probably a couple weeks ago. So I also had to like clean out stuff because it's been almost 7 years. Like I should probably like really clean out some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we had our official moving out office party on Thursday, and it was margaritas, memories, and moving out.
Nice.
So we went and got takeout from the Mexican restaurant that's in our plaza because that was a frequent of ours. We're only moving into the next plaza over, but still, we're not going to do it. We're not going to make the walk. We're going to go to the restaurant that's right next door to our office now. But yeah, so it's like it hasn't hit me yet. And I know that they're officially moving us on Monday and Tuesday. So
wow.
But we're actually homeless because we can't go in because they haven't finished the inspections.
Oh, geez.
So I'm homeless for at least 2 weeks because I think they have to. So they're moving the stuff in, but like we can't have closings. We can't go in and work. We can't have meetings. We can't do trainings. Nothing.
I'm sorry that
it's gonna
you're
be interesting. Yeah, not a good look for a realtor. But it'll be nice though because we're actually getting like a newly built out space. So that'll be our big thing is we're going to have Wi-Fi panels throughout because our Wi-Fi in that office was horrible. And it was definitely, if you were too far away from the router, you were not getting signal.
Oh, geez.
So yeah, that's my big exciting week. Survived the snow, read a book, and moved out of my office.
Hey, that was a lot for this week.
Yeah, that was actually, it was. Yeah. Give myself a pat on the back.
Yep.
But yeah, so join us on Thursday as we continue our conversation with fan spotlight Kim Hudson.
It's going to be so fun. I feel like we could have done like a 6-parter with her. So everyone should be proud that we kept it down to 2.
Well, I had to go get my daughter. So
right.
Else, who knows?
Yeah, right. We'd still be talking. So thank you.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess with that, have a good week.
And we'll meet you at the pier.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to pier54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review.
And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Pier 54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at pier54podcast@gmail.com.